of his people, we are safe, and all our family members are safe. And sometimes I join with a peaceful demonstrator, and sometimes my children also join us, but God protect us from sniper and shooting guns, and now we all safe. And shall I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, okay. Now I would like to talk about from the beginning of the COP and the problems, how we face these problems. As I have discussed before, the military chief of staff called Senior General Min Aung Hlaing COP the country in the first day of February, and the regime leader, the COP leader, justified it. There may be election fraud in election result. We have the elections in November 2020. In that elections, National League for Democracy Party, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, won a landslide victory. Though the military regime claimed that there may have election fraud, they cannot prove any evidence about election fraud. So you may think about why the military coped in the country. So the current military administration is built upon the military constitutions, and we call that constitution 2008 constitution. And the constitution gives special privilege to the military. It protects the rights of all the military, and the military had 25% of unelected military personnel in lower and upper house, and even in National Assembly, they have 25% of unelected military personnel. So beside this, the military exercise over the most important ministries, defense ministry, internal administrations, and border trade ministries. And these military leaders, generals, they all have their big business. Now the senior general have more than 50 companies in Myanmar. And then before the 2020 general elections, the military corps leader, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, tried to become a country president. But the military left-wing political parties could not compete Aung San Suu Kyi party, and there is no way for him to become the country president. And beside this, the military generals, the corps leader is about to retire in April. So he tried to maintain his power, but he could not become the country president. And there is also very big business in the country. That's why he copied the country. This is one of the big reasons. And then behind the COP, there is international involvement, especially China. China Communist Party, because the China Communist Party had investigated in mining, natural gas, hydroelectric power, and they have excessively exploited the country's natural resources, such as logging, and they have also fetched gold and gems and other mineral resources. And this CCP, China has a strong tie with military generals. They have big business. So even when the problem was brought to United Nations, even in United Nations Security Council, China is always sided with the military government. And then now let me go back to Aung San Suu Kyi administrations between 2015 to 2020. Though people elected the government, this Aung San Suu Kyi government had only some sort of power. But between 2015 to 2020, there was a lot of progress in the country. I think Dr. Joshua already visited Myanmar, and he visited Myanmar very often. He sees that there is a lot of progression during people elected governments. There is improvement in education and health service and civil infrastructures. But, and this under Aung San Suu Kyi government, there are many new projects. For example, new industrial zones and seaports, powerhouse. They are trying to build a new city, Rangoon new city like this. But these all projects are shifted from China to India, Japan, and Germany, and other democratic countries. So these projects are not meant for China anymore, but shifted to other democratic countries. So if the people elected government, Aung San Suu Kyi government continue like this, China would reduce its influence on our country, and China would lose a lot of companies. So behind the COP, there is lust of power or maintaining their business and China instigation. Now let me tell about how people regard the COP. On the first day of February, the military seized all the important sectors and detained government leaders and members of parliaments, including Aung San Suu Kyi and President Win Myint. And the military illegally formed the State Administrative Council. And the people of Myanmar resisted against the military coup and the State Administration Councils. Started from February 3rd, doctors, nurses, teachers, students, civil servants across the countries peacefully demonstrated against the military council. And they demand for the release of their leaders and those who are detained. And they demand for handing power to the official elected government. But the military and police ruthlessly suppress and disperse the demonstrators. Every day, they beat, they arrest, and shot with slingshot and shot with rubber bullets and rail bullets. Even the military use snipers, heavy machines. And at night, the military do not only arrest leaders of NLD and demonstrators, but they drug criminals and prisoners and children to let them fire on public houses or civilian houses. And they also put poison in drinking water. And then these criminals are given knife and money to kill civilians. Even tonight, they kill members of Aung San Suu Kyi parties in Mong Yua. And present, the military seized hospitals, universities, and religious buildings. And besides killing by guns, many people were arrested and tortured to death. Even yesterday, they arrested some of students, leaders of demonstrators, and member of National League for Democracy. But in the morning, they found that body. When they arrest, they are good in health. But in the next morning, the family found that body. And now more than 3,000 students and civil servants who joined civil disobedience movement were arrested. And due to civil disobedience movement against the COP, we have no hospital anymore. We have no health care. We have no schools, no other important services. But there is private healthcare, like in my place, the Methodist Church has a clinic. We can still run that. But other places, if the church and private hospital have no like healthcare, all the government's hospitals are closed down now. All the universities are closed down. All schools are closed down. And even there's no bank services recently. And in response to the military councils, the people elected governments or member of parliament founded temporary government. We call parallel governments, and they call that committee representing Pidong Su Luat Do. But these are formed from online only. They have no location yet. And these people elected government identifies and proclaimed the military council as terrorist now. And then United Nations also recognize our people represented committee, and we also sent to our representative to United Nations. And now the people elected committee calling for United Nations to protect the people we call responsibility to protect. We call for keep peacekeeping force. Unless United sends this peacekeeping force, the military will not stop to kill the innocent civilians. But how the United Nations will decide, we don't know.
Thank you.
Because China and Russia also stand with the military government. There is a big problems. And now in our country, since the country gained independence from the British government in 1948, we have civil war, we have armed conflict from ethnic minorities because the military government denied their basic human rights. And before we got independence, our country is separate kingdoms. Our country was separate kingdom making together as a union of Myanmar. We call in Pinlung Agreement. In that agreement, our country was formed to be a federated democratic government like in the United States, like in UK. But the military government denied all ethnic minorities and they rashly suppress. And because of this, we still have armed groups, more than a dozen armed groups. Now, these armed groups try to protect the civilians, people. In some places where there is armed group control, now people are safe. But we are not controlled by armed group here. We are not safe anymore. We have no police. Actually, the police and soldiers are to protect their people. But now, every night, they rob the people. They arrest, arbitrary arrest, and kill. So our country condition is, we are in a critical conditions. We really need your prayer. And we really need international community to intervene in these situations.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
yes, the people who died every day, most of them are teenagers. They call Generation Z.
What happens about food? Are you feeding yourselves all right?
Yes, we are feeding ourselves.
Is food coming in from the country?
Especially in our place, most farmers grow rice. And now food price is very high now. And the gas, 1 liter before the COP is around 3,000 jets, but now it's going up to 5,000 jets.
Yeah.
You are from Chin area, isn't it? Kachin or Karan?
Sagaing area,
Which is Karan or Kachin? Or
close to Chin State and close to India.
oh, okay. So this ethnic minorities he says is mostly Christians. So
Yes,
during the
in
democracy
my
time,
hometown is half Christian, half Buddhist,
yeah,
and some are Muslim.
the Karan and Kachins are Christians mostly, and the problem is during the democratic period, they were trying to bring in peace, dialogue, and all. But now it is sadly again going back to arms conflict.
Yes.
Any questions?
It's just tragic, the whole story. Really, really so awful.
Mm,
Mm,
thank
We
you.
feel very helpless except for praying for you.
mhm. So what, if there's no hospitals, what's happening to the injured?
And COVID.
The injured, they have to go to the house of nurse or the house of doctor.
Mhm,
But even in Chin State now, Chin State, those who join the doctor who joined CDM, Civil Disobedience Movement, and look after this, the injured were arrested also this morning.
Oh, goodness.
Uh,
People looking after injured.
How much confidence do you have that the United Nations will intervene?
mhm.
Yeah, we don't. We hope, but because of China and Russia, the peacekeeping force may not intervene.
The rest of the world are frightened of them.
But
Yeah.
we're also trying to bring the case to ICC and ICJ, International Criminal Court,
Right.
for crimes against humanity practiced by the military leaders.
Mm.
Do you not feel betrayed by the international community?
Excuse me.
Do you not feel betrayed by the international community that there is so little done to help you?
Yes, sometimes we are very encouraged by international community like for United States and UK and France and other democratic.
He's not
They
understanding.
share their voice and they share their solidarity with us. But sometimes we also feel that we are abandoned by our neighbor Asian countries
Yes.
because they do not totally blame the military government.
Mm.
They're afraid of
And they
China.
fear the power of China.
Yeah.
Mm.
How has your Christian church been affected by this? Have they prevented you from meeting?
Since
Okay.
since the spread of coronavirus,
Mm.
we have no church service. But this time, Christians in my community, they gather together in many different places and they pray. They have fasting prayer for our country.
Mm. That's good. That they feel they're together in that way. That's good.
And the problem is that there is no job anymore, and the community, or especially Christians among us, may find food shortage because many of us are hand-to-mouth conditions, and if they don't have job, that means they don't have anything to buy for food. And
Yeah.
that is, yeah.
Yeah.
And presumably the promise of an election in 2 years' time means nothing at all.
Doesn't mean anything, does it?
Mm.
Words are easy, aren't they?
They promised, the military government, junta has promised election in 2 years' time. Will it mean anything?
No, we can't believe anything from the military government. In 1988, they seized the country in 1988, and they promised to make the elections. And in 1990, they have elections, and Aung San Suu Kyi party won in that election, but they don't give any power to her.
Yeah.
And
No.
she was arrested more than 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. The trouble is as well that the wheels they turn so slowly in diplomatic circles, don't they?
Mm.
Yesterday, the Myanmar ambassador to the UK called for the release of Aung San Suu Kyi, and Dominic Raab agreed with it, but it's just so slow. It's just
Do anything, does it?
you need help now.
Yeah.
It's very
Yes.
frustrating.
If we pray for you, what would you like us to pray for?
Yes.
That's all we can do.
Yeah. Power can be handed to elected government so that justice must be done to the people and those who are demonstration, those who joined civil disobedient movement. Now many fled to India as well. More than 60 police also fled to India.
It feels as though you're in great personal danger too. Do you feel that you are?
Yes, every time we can have this kind of meeting also, they can arrest me at any time.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, very brave of you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
wondered how
yeah.
secure it was. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening me and pray for
Okay.
my
We
people
pray for
and
your
my country.
safety.
And
Yeah.
the internet will
Yeah.
We'll finish up in a
be
few minutes.
locked.
We
And,
hope to see you again.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's
Okay.
speak again, please.
Yes. Thank you for the
Okay.
update. Yeah, we
Thank
will
you.
pray for you. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
remember you.
okay.
See
I'll be in
you.
touch with you,
God
Tara.
bless you all.
I'll be in
Yes.
touch with you.
God bless. Yeah.
God bless you.
Be in touch.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh.